The first grape struck my youngest son on the cheek. He didn't cry, just blinked in startled silence, unsure why the world had suddenly turned on him. I leaned down, gently wiped the juice from his skin with the edge of my sleeve, fighting the urge to shake. Beside him, my daughter stood stiff, 2 years older and already wise enough to stay still. Her small fists clenched at her sides, but she didn't speak. She remembered what I had told her before we entered this house. In rooms like these, silence speaks louder than words. Across from us, my sister stood smugly with the platter still. In hand, a cube of cheese balanced on her fingernail like a taunt. She didn't flinch. Behind her, my mother stepped forward. Her expression sharpened into something surgically precise disgust without the decency to disguise itself. "I told you not to bring those burdens here," she hissed. The room stilled. The cultivated hum of elegant conversations thinned into whispers. Forks hovered mid-air. Champagne paused halfway to lips. No one moved. No one intervened. Then came my father's voice from the dining room, thundering through the hush. "Get those mistakes out of my house." There it was. The word they used in whispers, now said with intent, carved into the open air with all the cruelty they could muster. "Mistakes." My children turned to me, their eyes wide but dry. I knelt beside them, placed a hand on each of their trembling shoulders, and said softly, "We don't beg to belong. We find people who want us." Then we turned and walked out, not rushed, not ashamed. We moved slowly through the marble-floored entryway and out the grand front door, leaving them to their whispers and their inherited coldness. I wasn't finished, not yet. There was a time I believed blood meant something. That family was a sanctuary, not a battlefield. Foolish in hindsight. They had held me close as long as I played the part dutiful daughter, Ivy League graduate, top of my class at law school, married to the man they'd chosen. A surgeon, handsome, well-connected. A name they could be proud of. I gave them that dream. I wore the dresses, posed for the pictures, kept my voice sweet and agreeable. Then I got pregnant. Twins. Unexpected, they said. Inconvenient. I didn't handle it the way they wanted, refused to quit my job, refused to let motherhood erase me. And when the man they'd handpicked for me filed for divorce 2 months after the birth, they closed the door completely. No support, no comfort, only judgment. "You brought this on yourself," my mother said, brushing invisible dust from her pearls. As though my shame might cling to them, what she really meant was, "You embarrassed us." I bit my tongue for years. Endured their coldness in silence, believing one day they'd come around. But that birthday, that display of venom in front of my children taught me the most brutal lesson of all. Some people only love you when you serve their image. 2 weeks later, invitations were mailed. My firm was hosting a gala, a charity event for underprivileged single mothers, an initiative spearheaded by me, strategic, pointed. I made sure their names were on the guest list, and I knew they'd come. Prestige was their religion. They arrived dressed to impress, as expected. Tailored silk, designer heels, careful elegance masking rot. My sister wore the same necklace she'd worn when she threw the grape. I almost laughed, but this wasn't a party. It was a stage. I greeted them with poise, polite smiles, my children at my side dressed in navy and gold, heads held high, eyes steady. They looked radiant, composed. Nothing like the broken figures my family once tried to reduce them to. Midway through the evening, the lights dimmed as I stepped onto the podium. A hush fell over the room like mist. Even the servers paused. "I want to tell you a story," I began. Eyes turned. Chairs shifted. My mother's posture stiffened. A woman brings her children to a family gathering, a celebration. But instead of welcome, they're met with insults called burdens and mistakes, shamed in front of strangers by the people who should have protected them. The silence deepened. The discomfort grew thick, palpable. That woman, I said, my voice steady, was me, and those children. They're here tonight, brave, beautiful, unbreakable. There was a ripple in the crowd, whispers, glances. My children stood still, dignified. I turned toward the screen behind me and gave a nod. The projector flickered to life. Footage appeared crystal clear. Security cam clips from that birthday, audio enhanced. Voices unmistakable. I told you not to bring those burdens here. Get those mistakes out of my house. Go back to whatever dumpster you crawled from. Every cruel phrase, every quiet sneer, preserved, played before judges, executives, philanthropists, my entire professional circle. They didn't know I'd sewn body cams into the seams of my children's jackets, but now they knew everything. My sister dropped her wine glass. The sound of it shattering was elegant. Fitting the consequences came quickly. My father, once board chair of a major medical nonprofit, was discreetly asked to step down. His resignation was announced within the week. My mother lost 3 prestigious positions, including one on a diversity board she never believed in to begin with. My sister's boutique collapsed overnight. One video clip was all it took. It spread fast-stitched, captioned, dissected. Her smug expression became a meme. They tried to spin the story, of course. Claimed manipulation, creative editing. But truth doesn't need embellishment. It just needs clarity. And this was crystal. Weeks later, I received a letter 3 pages, handwritten, from my mother. Apologies wrapped in deflection. I didn't mean for it to sound that way. I was under stress. Your children are beautiful. Carefully worded regret without responsibility. I folded it once and fed it to the shredder. Then I took my kids out for ice cream. They laughed sticky smiles, carefree joy, unburdened. They didn't ask about the letter. They didn't need to. They understood. Revenge isn't rage, it's restraint. The ability to stay silent until the moment your enemies are watching themselves fall and realize too late that you were the one who lit the fuse. My children know where they come from, but more importantly, they know where they're going. They carry no shame, only strength, and me. I've learned one lesson more valuable than any degree or title. Blood isn't family. Behavior is, and some people, no matter how close they once were, earn their exile.